Jason, thanks so much for joining us in studio. We appreciate it. So we've got, Jason, you've been traveling the state for quite some time now. You've got yourself a Ford Fiesta, which you talked openly about we had a Madison County Republicans thing where we both got to speak there as well. Why get in this race? Jesse White's been doing this for a long time. Isn't he really good at his job by now?
No, he's not really good. I mean, when we take a look at this, Jesse White's the longest-serving Secretary of State in the history of Illinois. He served 5 full terms. When we take a look at this election, he's talked about retiring for the last 10.
Yeah. So just, Mike Madigan's the longest-serving House Speaker in the country. Like, what is up with Illinois? You look at how big of a mess the state is and how consistent some of the representatives have been. It's not that hard to draw a line between the two, is it?
No, it's not. The state of Illinois had one-party rule from 2003 until 2015, and that's really the problem with the term limits, is that term limits have to happen when somebody's in a position too long, they get too powerful.
Yeah. So as Secretary of State, if you were to win in November, again, name is Jason Helland. You can check him out on Facebook. Do you have a website yet? Or do you mostly direct people towards your Facebook page?
We direct everybody to the Facebook page. The Illinois GOP will have a website out soon.
Yeah. So what can you do as Secretary of State? I think a lot of people don't even necessarily know what kind of powers or authority that the Secretary of State has. What are you looking to do if you win?
You're right about that. I was at a Lincoln Day dinner the other night, and somebody wanted to know my policy on North Korea.
Do you have this Secretary of State from? Yeah, that's
And I was trying to say this is Illinois Secretary of State. What most people think think about the Secretary of State, they think the DMV, but there's a lot more issues there. You're the state archivist, state librarian, and when we take a look at this position, we got to take a look at the budget. Nobody's talked about cutting budget, and we have to cut the budget. The state of Illinois simply can't afford the hundreds of millions of dollars that the current budget is. And we have to talk about cutting. We need to talk about implementing new technology, the internet, using that more freely. And I think that Jesse White's office simply has failed to use technology because that'd be the reduction of jobs.
Yeah, tell me other things that Jesse White has done so far that you would take a departure from. Where is he failing the taxpayers, the people of Illinois, where you could pick up that slack?
The number one thing is budget. We have to cut the budget. We have to live within our means. We can't answer everything with, we need a new tax.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, does the Secretary of State write ballot issues? Is that part of the Secretary of State office, like where you come up with the wording for how things get on the state ballot?
I'm not sure how that happens because there's a lot of voter ballot initiatives. And one of the initiatives that will be on the ballot this November will be, shall Illinois legalize recreational marijuana up to an ounce? And that's going to be on the ballot. And that's a non-binding advisory opinion.
Yeah. So what else now for Secretary? Tell us about your past. How'd you get to the point where you're like, yeah, that looks like that needs some improvement. How about me? How come you?
We talked to the Illinois GOP. I was vetted through a very thorough process, and it's a long story, but I started going to school at Joliet Junior College. I graduated with the law enforcement degree there in 1994. Then I graduated the University of 1997. Then I graduated the University of St. Francis in 1999 with a political science degree. And I took a year off. I worked at a grocery store for 8.5 years, and I ended up going to John Marshall Law School, and I graduated there in 2003. And I've been a prosecutor for the last 14 years. I was a prosecutor in Kankakee for 8.5 years, and then I got elected Grundy County State's Attorney in 2012 and again in 2016. And when I ran for Grundy County State's Attorney in 2012, I was told by all the party people, you'll never win. We hadn't had a Republican in that position for 28 years, and I asked them, how can we win? And it was the door-to-door. It was meeting the voters, pressing the flesh, knocking doors. Yeah. And that's what I did successfully twice. So
you've been around the state. This is the second time I've seen you down south. Now, Southern Illinois means different things to different people.
Trust me, I found out the hard way.
Yeah, where you're allowed to start calling it South and Central and all that. It varies.
I was actually in Cook County one day. And they introduced me as the Downstate Candidate for Secretary of State.
And you're from?
And I'm from Mazan, which is a town of 1,100. So you're 10 miles north of Dwight and 10 miles south of I-80.
Yeah.
And I thought...
South of I-80, that's what you need to know.
South of I-80.
Yeah.
And what I learned was a downstate candidate is anything not Cook County or the Collier County areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asked by the Chicago liberal media, why would somebody from a town of 1,100 running for statewide office, didn't I think that was unusual? And I said, no, I didn't think it was unusual. That I think I have a lot of the values that a lot of downstaters have that we don't feel is being adequately represented in the constitutional offices right now.
So you've experienced these travels across the state. Us folks down south, we feel like there's two Illinois, and we feel like we're on the losing end of that most of the time. What have you noticed about the differences? Because the Cook County people, they count too, but it feels like they count a little bit more.
41% of the votes are out of Cook County, but we've traveled the state. I've been in approximately 60 counties, and Illinois is a very diverse state with a lot of diverse interests. And as an attorney, you'd kind of use your ability to compromise and reach agreements to figure out what policies are best fit for the state. Yeah.
It's an important thing, and I know that with the governor primary, I was a strong advocate for Jeannie Ives. I still haven't been able to land in full support behind Bruce Rauner, but I figure he's got till November to earn my vote. I don't think a J.B. Pritzker is good for the state either, for sure. But the folks that are down state in Illinois, and I'm talking actual southern Illinois, not just like 10 miles outside of Cook County, feel like a forgotten people. And I understand there's a huge consolidation of votes that come out of that northeastern corner of the state. But that message to the folks that are down south, that they are aware that we even exist, isn't a very important one for us to hear.
A lot of people appreciate it. I've been all over Southern Illinois, and they just thank me for coming down here because every vote counts. We're working as the GOP slate that was 6 constitutional offices. We make sure that at all times we're covering all the counties that we can in the area.
Yeah, that's great. Well, how do people support your campaign?
Just go on the Facebook page, Jason Helland. You can find it. I have about 2,200 followers, and it's going to be an exciting 6 months. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching how all of this pans out. I know that the folks in the state of Illinois are very frustrated, very disappointed in how the state has been run. And if anything is true, changing it up a little bit wouldn't be a bad thing. And Jason Helland, I'm going to spell your last name. It's Helland. It's at Elect Helland on Facebook.com. You can go there and you can check out his page. You can see more information about him. Looks like you're pretty active there as well. People can reach out to you too on that page, can't they?
Exactly. I respond to every message that I get, and we post everywhere where we've been.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of places.
Yeah, I was at the Madison County Lincoln Day dinner in Highland, Illinois a few weeks ago, and I was the final speaker that was there, and they had multiple people who are running for office across the state of Illinois. Lots of local people stand up and talk, and I got to hear Jason speak. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show here. Now I have gotten this weekday thing going, so it's great to have you in here and have your voice heard.
Congratulations on the new show on the time slot.
Yeah.
Now I get to hear you 5 days a week.
Yes, it's very exciting. So Jason Helland, Secretary of State, challenging current 5-term Jesse White?
5-term.
5-term Jesse White. So